Hey guys, it's Legendary Luke, and in today's video, I'm going to show you how to get the 20 bomb badge in Apex Legends. How this video is going to work is first, I will go over the most important tips and tricks you will need to help you get a 20 bomb. Then, I will explain 2 of the best methods to get the badge. First off, I'm going to start off with the tips and tricks. They will give you a sense of how to play a match when going for a high kill game, and they're also extremely useful for trying to get a 20 bomb. Some of them literally get you free kills. Okay, so tip number 1 when going for a 20 bomb is more of a disclaimer, but I decided to throw it in here first anyways. That is to say that getting a 20 bomb will be much easier with a mobile legend. This includes Octane, Pathfinder, and Horizon. Pretty much any legend with a mobile ability will allow you to rotate around the map quicker and escape from death. Tip number 2 starts before you even leave the jump ship. Going into a game where you are trying for the 20 bomb, the very first thing you should do is identify the path of the dropship. This information will tell you what POIs will be hot that game and where you can rotate later. It should also give you an idea of where you want to drop, but more on that later. You can also use the free look feature to look back and see where people are landing. Going hand in hand with tip number 2 is tip number 3, and that is to drop hot. Your target should be on or very near to the POI with the most people going to it. Usually this is a place like a state's or capital city, but it can vary game to game. A more central landing location is also good when going for a 20 bomb because that's where people tend to rotate to, which will become useful later in the game when you need to find more people to kill. It will also give you the best rotation paths for when you need to leave your POI. Tip number 4 is to run meta weapons. Meta weapons have the fastest time to kill. They are also the best and easiest to use when you're fighting team after team. If you're not sure what to run, here are some loadouts I recommend. Flatline EVA 8, R99 R301, Volt Wingman, G7 Prowler, or any combination of these. Okay, tip number 5 is to loot fast. One of the hard things about getting a 20 bomb in Apex Legends is actually finding 20 people to kill in a match. Looting is just something you have to cut out if you're going for a 20 bomb. Almost every second of the match, you need to either be looking for someone to fight or actively fighting, and looting is just a luxury you can't afford. What you should be doing is getting your loot from death boxes. This is quicker, allows you to fight, and usually gets you better loot while doing it, so it's pretty much killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Tip number 6 is how to rotate. Rotating is essential in high kill games, and knowing how to rotate can make or break a 20 kill game. The general rule is if you hear players fighting, you should always go to it. This saves time and other players will probably be doing the same. If you do not hear fighting, but you've cleared out your POI and need somewhere to go, you should begin rotating to where you saw players landing at the beginning of the match. If it's a little bit later in the game, you should rotate to where those players will be rotating. This is a little bit confusing, but generally, earlier in the game, go to hot POIs. Later in the game, rotate to where others will be rotating. Usually, this is more central in the map, but if you're not sure, look at their path to zone and think to yourself how you would leave that POI if you were the ones landing there, and then you can take that route and intercept them. Almost all rotations lead to a more central position on the map. A good example of this is Hammond Labs on Olympus. This is why I suggested a more central landing position in the beginning of the video, because it will be easier because people will be rotating to you. And if you do have to rotate, your path will generally be shorter. This leads to less time spent looking for a fight. Tip number 7 is simply don't die. That may sound silly, but how most people end up throwing their games is rushing into fights when they have 15 plus kills. Even though you want to be starting and ending fights as quickly as possible, you still have to have good positioning and composure. You cannot get a 20 bomb just by 50-50ing everything, rushing into everything, and ego challenging. That might work 2, 3, 4, 5 times, but it will not work 20. Use your game sense and fight like you normally would. That's one of the biggest mistakes I see people make, is they change the way that they fight when they're going for a 20 bomb. You have to get into a lot of fights, but even more important is winning them. Even just going down in the middle of a fight can throw the chances of your 20 bomb. You can't rely on your teammates to revive you, and even if they do, it will mean that you missed out on at least one kill, usually more. Tip number 8 is to let enemies respawn. Letting an enemy or enemy team respawn is pretty much farming kills. Especially in the endgame, when you're close to that 20, but you just need a little extra boost, maybe there's not even enough players in the game to get it, that's when you can let them res. A strategy a lot of people use is to kill 2 members of a squad, but intentionally leave the third alive to respawn. This will give you at least 2 extra kills, and if you do it multiple times, can give you 4, 5, or even 6. The last tip on this list, before I go into the methods, is to finish downed players. You might have heard this before, but if the squad that originally downed the player gets killed, and you finish that player, the kill will count as yours. This allows you to snag free kills, especially because you're going to be third-partying a lot when you're going for the 20. So next, I'm going to move on to the methods section of this video. These methods are fairly unknown, but are what I have discovered to be what gives players the highest chance of getting a 20 bomb. Maybe after following all of the tips and tricks, you still aren't quite good enough, or you just don't want to wait for the right game. These are what I suggest you try. Method number 1 is to get a support friend or 2. Getting a friend or someone off Discord is probably the easiest way to get the 20 bomb without cheating. The strategy is for your friend to go in and get the enemies weak but leave the kills for you. This leads to you getting more kills, dying less, and never getting your kills stolen. People that use this method often have 20 bomb games where they have under 2k damage, which is pretty crazy. Your friend can do all the damage, but just getting in that last little shot is what counts. Make sure you have a longer range gun so you can finish off kills, but your friend has a closer range loadout to go in and do the dirty work. Another big thing is to have them play Valkyrie. Valkyrie has an extremely valuable ult that lets you instantly rotate. Again, this is extremely useful when time is a factor. You can even get a friend to gather up loot and bring it to you. This method takes out the big factors when it comes to a 20 kill game. Your teammates get you loot, so you're not in shambles. You have Valkyrie to rotate, which saves time, and you shouldn't die because you'll have 2 players supporting, and you will never even have to go into the fight if you don't want to. Method number 2 is for players that play by themselves and have some patience. It's just as easy as method number 1, if not easier. What you do is not play ranked for a split or 2. By then, you will be put into bronze lobbies with the worst players in the game. Some people consider this selfish because you are intentionally dropping ranks. I find this completely understandable, however it is not bannable because you are not doing anything illegal, not even creating a smurf. Once you're in bronze lobbies, you can use the tips and tricks that I showed you before against the worst players in the game. This strategy works best mid to late season. I do not recommend using it right as the split resets. I also ask that you don't abuse this, just get the 20 bomb and then go back to playing ranked like normal. Lastly, if you still can't get the 20 bomb after all of my tips, tricks, and methods, combine methods 1 and 2. And by that point, if you don't have the 20 bomb badge, you need to watch more of my videos. Please like and subscribe, and also comment down below other video ideas or things you would like to see from me. I highly recommend you check out other videos on my channel. I have a lot of Apex videos that will help you improve. Thank you for watching.